Avers. Oops, hang on. I hit the wrong thing.
Oh, you can hit a button and
You wanna
push it
stop?
back and forth.
Yeah. Oh Lord, yeah, but it changed my buttons here.
Oh.
Where's that? There it is. It moved everything around. Sorry, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Jason Avers here, and Jason has taught me something very interesting, and that is the lesson that if you choose your weeds wisely, you won't have to weed anymore. So Jason is Green Country Agroforestry. Jason, how does that work? You don't have to weed when you choose your weeds wisely.
Right.
It's a mouthful.
So I've changed my outlook on life. I no longer pull weeds because it's a horrible chore. Nobody wants to do it.
No kidding.
Instead of pulling weeds, I've decided what we're doing is harvesting resources. Now, this might sound like a semantic trick, and to a certain extent, yes, it is. But it's also a change in outlook, and it's a change in the methods that we use to go about growing our gardens, whether it's food gardens or gardens for beauty or whatever the purpose of those gardens is. Whenever you look out in nature, I'll lay out the secret to you pretty easily here. When you look out in nature and you see what's going on, you walk by a patch of woods anywhere, you see lots of green, vibrant plants, trees growing. Everything is growing. Nobody's watering it. Nobody's coming in and planting extra stuff. Nobody's fertilizing. Nobody's tilling. Nobody's doing any of that stuff. So how is it that these natural ecosystems are able to thrive without anybody coming along and providing these extra inputs that we're told that we have to have in order to grow things? The reason is pretty simple. Everything is working towards a common purpose. Whenever you have something that is green and alive and vibrant and growing in nature, it's serving a purpose. Whenever it stops serving that purpose, it starts getting sick. It falters, it dies, disease moves in, insects move in, and they eliminate that plant, whatever it happens to be. It dies, it gets consumed, it gets turned back into soil, and that feeds the next cycle of growth of whatever it is that's going to serve a purpose. So, our trick is to look at the weeds and figure out what purpose they are. You know, what purpose is this weed serving? If I look at, say, a lamb's quarter plant like this one over here, what purpose is it serving?
That's a great weed.
That's a great weed. Actually, this one is edible, and,
Yes.
and it's one that I was talking to Greg off camera earlier. I said I used to just let these go to seed so I could have more of them, because I know it's something that I can rely upon for food if I needed to. But also this plant does something else. It likes to absorb lots of excess fertility. So if you have more nitrogen in your soil than your plants can use at the moment, it's either going to be washed off, get into the watershed, go downstream and create an algae bloom somewhere, or you can have it soaked up by something like lamb's quarter that will absorb that excess fertility, keep it there on your land, and whenever this plant is ready to decompose, it'll put that back into the soil for you.
Fantastic.
All right.
So you could maybe use that on the edge of farms just to limit the nitrogen runoff into the streams.
Well, it appears on the edges of farms anyway.
Yeah, it does. It does for the most part, but it could be
anytime-
more intensive.
Right. Anytime you disturb the
Purposeful.
soil, seeds in the soil seed bank, the soil has a seed bank.
Yeah.
The seeds that are already in there, waiting for the right circumstances to germinate and grow. If the soil happens to need the services that those particular plants are offering, hi Kitty, he wants to get in on the show.
Yeah, he's on the show.
If the soil happened to need those particular plants, then those are going to be the ones that germinate. Those are going to be the ones that prosper. Of course, if those are ones that we don't want, all we need to do is figure out what purpose those weeds were serving and replace them
Bingo.
with something.
That's what I wanted to hear right there.
Replace
Yeah,
them
you
with
don't need
something that's
coffee.
going to serve our purposes and also serve the purposes that nature had intended
Bingo.
when it allowed that weed to germinate. Because there's all kinds of seeds in that soil seed bank. You wouldn't believe the seeds that are in the soil seed bank, just waiting for the right circumstances to germinate and grow.
Right.
It's thousands, tens of thousands in a shovelful of soil of tiny little seeds waiting for the right circumstance to germinate and grow. And they do it because the soil, nature, needs whatever that plant is going to provide. So maybe you need something to absorb excess fertility, like that lamb's quarter there, which is also edible.
Oh yeah, it's a spinach substitute.
Very strongly flavored whenever you're eating it raw.
They actually used to cultivate it in Europe.
So, Chenopodium album.
Say that again?
Chenopodium album. Lamb's quarter.
Podium album.
Yep, lamb's quarter. Free vegetable.
Yeah.
All right. But maybe you don't want a lot of lamb's quarter. Maybe you want something that's maybe a little bit less strongly flavored, not as much oxalic acid as the lamb's quarter plant has in it. And so I started planting buckwheat instead of
Buckwheat. I love buckwheat.
instead of lamb's quarter, because it accomplished some of the same goals. It'll take all that excess fertility and store it in the plant.
Yeah, buckwheat is like a low carb grain,
Right.
but it's not in the grass family, right? So you can get
Correct.
it as
It's not a
they
grass.
serve it in heaping quantities in buffets in Russia. You know, just as a full vegetable. I've never been anywhere else that did it, but I loved it.
We're going to take over the world. Okay. So buckwheat is a substitute for lamb's quarter. One of the other weeds that's very common in crop fields is the red-rooted pigweed. You see an awful lot of people spraying pre-emergent and other things to get rid of red-rooted pigweed because they don't want that in their crop fields. But once again, the red-rooted pigweed is doing a job. It's trying to loosen up soil compaction. It's trying to bring phosphorus up from the subsoil to the soil surface so the other plants can make use of it. So if you've got a lot of red-rooted pigweed popping up and you don't really want that because it's not your favorite thing to eat, you can substitute something else for it. And the thing that we substituted was daikon radish, and we also substituted in some sugar beets.
Well, daikon radish will definitely grow like a weed.
Oh yeah. It's
Sugar beets, that's a nice
we can
app.
we can go back to the cornfield here in a moment and have
Yeah,
a
let's do that. We'll take a walkabout. We're in Jason's grape arbor. He's just planted some grapes. They're just starting over there. I told him I thought it was a tomato arbor because he's got a nice big tomato bush over there, but that's an annual. The grapes will be here for a long time.
That's a brandywine tomato. It takes a little while to get up and going.
Brandywine.
We'll probably get a few decent fruits off of it before the end of the year.
Yeah.
But if you wanted something that to get up, growing, and produce fruit a little bit quicker, cherry tomatoes are great.
Cherry tomatoes. I like to grow cherry tomatoes.
And I didn't grow any cherry tomatoes this year.
I try to grow them fairly often because you don't have to cut them when you want to eat them. You just rinse them off and pop. Yeah, just pop them in your mouth, pop them in a salad. They're ready to go.
I like the smaller fruits because whenever you have one fruit that gets damaged, it either gets sun damaged or it gets some sort of disease or a bug gets to it. If it's a full-size tomato, you lost a whole tomato. If it's a cherry tomato, well, you lost this much.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love cherry tomatoes. Now, for a mater sandwich, you got to have that beefsteak tomato.
Oh yeah.
I actually did a video on mater sandwiches because I realized a lot of our poor, unfortunate brothers up north just don't quite get it yet. So.
Well, you have to have lots of homegrown tomatoes for that.
That's right. They need to be homegrown. Mater sandwich. Well, they can eat banana sandwiches or pineapple sandwiches. You can get that from the store.
I've never had a pineapple sandwich.
They're good. Just eat them like bananas. All right. Let's
Okay.
see. AB says, I've always had a green thumb. Oh, well, she can type. Trying to read it and then the message fades off screen.
Oh, yeah, it's hard to keep track of stuff with those.
Yeah, it's harder to do this on the phone. I can't really
when you're publishing
respond.
on the phone.
I can't really respond to the message very well.
So Bill thinks that he wants coffee.
Yeah, he was after mine a minute ago. Oh, here he comes again. Nope, my coffee cat. Cat goes, really? Come
You're
on.
wired enough as it is, Kitty.
Come
You
on.
don't need any more.
Anyway, I've been attacked by a cat. I did a video on what to do if you run into a big cat in the woods. Just hadn't uploaded it yet.
Oh, well, I guess we'll see if the techniques work.
Oh, this cat's done got me.
If the big cat jumps up on you and gets in your lap, what do you do?
If it gets in your lap, I guess that's cool.
All right.
Or sometimes they might want to eat you.
Okay, so I didn't start this this project of choosing weeds all by myself. The ideas came to me bits and pieces at a time from different sources. Was it Stefan Subkowiak, if I can pronounce the name properly? He's a fellow that runs a permaculture orchard. I can't talk. Up around Quebec. He kind of got me started thinking in terms of what is it that these individual plants are doing in the soil and in the ecosystem. And of course, Masanobu Fukuoka had some influence on me as well with cover cropping and choosing plants to do work. For example, daikon radishes to accomplish tillage. That way you don't have to break out the rototiller. You don't have to fork the soil all the time constantly. You can just make sure that you plant things that are going to accomplish those tasks for you. Hi.
You definitely got a cat in your lap.
But after working with these ideas for a little bit, I came to the realization that, wait a minute, if I keep doing this, eventually I won't be pulling any weeds at all. I'll be thinning crops.
Too late, cat. I already had it.
Sorry,
Hey, there's a good prepper cup right there.
Duck. It has a double meaning. You'll see in a minute. So it's a small step from cover cropping and looking at species as indicators of what's going on with your soil, what your soil health is like, and things like that, to going ahead and making that switch to going, okay, hang on a second here. If I can plant something that's going to fill the niche of whatever the weed is,
Yeah.
and it's going to do a better job,
And serve you.
yeah, and serve me. It's going to do a better job than the weed, and it's going to serve me. Serving me is great, but if it does a better job than the weed, then nature will favor that plant over the weed.
Ah.
And we'll wait till the trash guy goes by.
There's excitement there. Racket. If y'all hadn't figured it out, I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma this morning.
Yep, we're in
Close
Tulsa,
to-
Oklahoma,
Close to it. Just
in the open air sauna.
open air sauna. Yeah, it was 86 when I went to bed last night.
That fan over there in the corner's helping out a little bit.
The fan
I
is
need to
helping
get
a
a
lot.
couple really big ones. And get them just positioned up there in the corners.
Well, shall we do a walkabout here in a minute? Yeah, somebody walk around.
The top of a hobby horse stuck on there.
Oh, I guess he stopped to give it to the garbage guys. Interesting. You can see the castor bean plants, a lot of sweet potatoes out here. So Jason grows in his yard. This is an urban homestead. Jason,
Micro homestead, basically.
Micro
is the
homestead.
way to put it. If you have a home and a yard, you could be growing at least a portion of your own food, and you can actually grow quite a bit of your own calories right out of your yard.
about what percentage of your food do you think you grow here?
I have no idea, because most of it I don't eat. Most of it I sell.
That's what I do.
Most of it I sell. Okay, I realize that for a commercial operation, I'm not going to be able to grow enough corn to sell at the farmer's market to make a house payment. It's just not going to happen. But I can grow an heirloom corn and sell the seeds to an heirloom corn at a very good price, incidentally, and actually probably manage to make enough to make a house payment out of it. Now, that's one thing that you can do, although I do like to eat it too. It's good stuff. I also grow other things. For example, pecan trees like this one that's over here. This is about a 9-year-old tree, and this year it's pretty loaded with nuts, and most of those nuts I am not going to eat. Most of those nuts I'm going to plant, because a pecan tree seedling,
So that's not a hybrid pecan?
that's a Wichita cultivar. Well, I mean, they're all hybrids. I mean,
Well, it's not from a graft though.
it is grafted.
Oh.
It's a grafted cultivar.
So if you plant the seeds, you're going
I
to
plant
get.
the seeds, so you're going to get whatever genetics you happen to get.
Yeah.
That's a nice, firm flesh, sweet paper shell pecan for a mother. And the father, well, the father might be that one over there, or it might be a native that's over there in that little green band over. You can't see it from here, but there's a native pecan over there that's about 120 foot tall.
Wow. That's a big tree for around here.
So I imagine some of these nuts are going to have those genetics in them, and that's just fine, because the native pecans are nice and sweet and hardy and vigorous, and you really want different genetics in your pecan trees, because pecan trees are monoecious. They have both male and female flowers on the same tree, but the flowers don't open at the same time on the same tree.
Oh.
So you'll have maybe about 25% pollination from the same tree, and the rest of your pollination has to happen from the other trees in the neighborhood.
So that's how they get the crossing.
Yeah, it helps prevent the trees from just becoming clones. The more
Right.
genetic diversity you have, the healthier your population is. He's blue.
I see that. All right.
All right.
So, we do a walkabout now?
We'll do
Is
a
the
little-
cup going to be fine there?
We'll do a little walkabout. Sorry, guys. Well, you get to walk walkabout.
You got. Are you videoing or live?
May as well.
Huh?
May as well. I don't even know if I'll use it. You know, I'll shoot 4 hours of footage and maybe use half an hour.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So let's walk around.
All right. So this messy area out here, and it is, it's messy. I need to get out here and do some weeding. There's some grass growing up here that shouldn't be.
Yeah, you have a little grass. Yikes.
But I guess, yeah, we'll start out here. This is the area where we get lots of sun, obviously. There's the east over there.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a grasshopper trying to be a mess.
Rotate.
This is a Asian persimmon that we just planted.
Oh,
Down here at its feet, we have some peanuts that are starting to come up.
I see peanuts.
Peanuts as an alternate ground cover,
Yeah, you
as
talked
opposed
that before. We
as
talked
opposed
peanuts.
to grasses and other weeds.
Sweet potatoes and peanuts are
Yeah,
both
sweet
good
potatoes
ground.
and peanuts, and they're kind of competing and duking it out to see who can be the best ground cover. Right now, I think the sweet potatoes are winning.
Yeah, looks like the sweet potatoes are winning right now. They're a heck of a viner.
Just for laughs, I threw in a couple corn plants out here because I can.
You kind of mix it up, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Annuals and perennial species mixed up, just like nature wants to do it. It's not all perennials. It's not all annuals. It's a little bit of everything. You use annuals because they pop up and grow quick. Harvest some more resources there.
Harvest resource. That means it's compost.
That's compost. Hopefully, eventually, whenever we have everything kicking, it will be fewer things that we pull up just for compost and more things that we pull up because we're wanting to thin. And more
Yeah, it
things we
takes
pull
a
up
while
because we want
to really weed out the stuff you don't want, right? So
Right.
it's an iterative process. Takes a few years.
That's a sage plant right there, culinary sage, regular old sage. This one is great for attracting pollinators as well. Early in the year, this is one of the plants that the early hummingbirds come by and visit.
Oh,
we actually
nice.
get some early in the year, and they like to visit these guys. Over there behind you saw the Ricinius communis castor bean plant, and yeah, these guys, they are toxic. The plant itself is not toxic, but the seeds inside these flowers are very toxic. You don't want to eat them. They're not for eating, but what they are for is for chasing off gophers.
Chasing off gophers. Hey,
Chasing off gophers.
wow, now that's a good thing to have.
So whenever these things finish baking their seeds, we'll take those, crack the seed, and toss it into any gopher holes or burrows of rodents that we happen to find. And just the smell of that, they find unpleasant. I imagine this growing in the ground, they probably are not happy with either.
Nice.
All right.
That one. You know, castor oil, we use that as a mold control because moles will try to lick it off their skin and they give them the runs and then they expire. Get dehydrated.
All right.
Oh, I see some ducks.
There's some ducks back there. This little strip here is, this is an experiment. It's not doing well because this is an almond tree in zone 7A. I don't know if it's
Almond tree.
an almond tree. I
A
don't
little
know.
bit out of the zone here,
I
huh?
don't know if it's going to make it or not.
So you're 7A here.
We're 7A. Yeah.
Same as my place in Snowflake. I'm 7B where I live.
So it may
But
or it may
it's
not
border.
manage to grow here. It all depends. Sometimes things that are zone 10 will grow well, and sometimes things that should grow in zone 7 won't. I'll give you an example. It's a minor detour, but gotta have a fig tree.
Big tree. I
Bronze scuppernong grapevine.
had a big fig tree that got killed off us last winter, but it came back in a hurry.
Constantly have redbuds volunteering. We sell redbuds. Redbud trees. You spend about $35 at the Home and Garden Center for a redbud tree. I sell them for $15 or $10 shipping. So
Nice.
it's $10 cheaper than getting them from the Home Garden Center. These guys aren't flowering right now, but this is Monarda, otherwise known as bee balm.
Bee balm.
Got a sniff of that. You can eat it too.
Come here.
Lots and lots of thymol in that.
What? Thymol.
Thymol. So just like oregano has lots of thymol in it as an antiseptic, also it'll sweeten your breath too, kill off the bacteria. But the bee balm can be used medicinally to treat infections.
Nice.
Cuts and stuff. Elderberry sneaking in here. This one, do you recognize what this plant is?
I should.
I cut the top off of it. It already went to seed, so I cut the top off.
What is it?
This is North American wild lettuce.
All my wild
canadensis.
lettuce, all my wild lettuce. That's what I was thinking, but it's
Yep.
got very different leaf structure than the wild
Very
lettuce we
different
have.
from Verdun and Cerulean.
I was thinking
Yeah.
wild lettuce, but the leaves weren't
These
serrated.
ones, these ones are old and tough, but whenever they're young and tender, you can eat these, and they have almost no bitterness at all compared to other wild
Wow,
lettuces.
that don't grow where I live. I hadn't seen it.
So I
No, those leaves.
decided
But the
I-
stalk look like wild lettuce. I'm thinking,
so I decided I'd go ahead and let this one grow. I'd like to have more of those.
I'll let
just
wild
popping
lettuce
up.
grow.
All right, so this is an example of a plant that's kind of out of zone. This is a Canna glauca, Louisiana canna. It's supposed to be perennial at zone 10.
Mm.
This has been here for about 2 years now, and I have
Well, you've
not,
got a little bit of a
I-
microclimate here in front of your house.
I haven't lifted it or done anything with it. It's growing in, it's a zone 10 perennial growing in zone 7A and overwintering.
Nice.
Who was that?
Cat?
I
don't know which one. Huh?
Could have been the mockingbird too. You gotta look out for him there.
There's bird
Oh,
up there, but it's not a mockingbird.
There's hummingbird.
Hummingbird.
Yeah. Lots and lots of birds out here.
Gorge. There's his famous corn back there.
Lots and lots of birds out here.
I see that.
Of course, birds are part of the scheme, right?
Right.
We provide surface water for them, bird baths and surface water, and in
I see
exchange,
the on there.
there you go. Oh, you're trying to look at the nuts. There's going to be a lot more.
Yeah.
You get me?
It's loaded.
So we provide.
You
bird
said it's
baths.
9 years old.
9 years old. Yeah.
When did it start bearing? 7?
Probably around 7 or 8. Yeah.
7 or 8.
And it was okay. So we planted it in 2016, but it was already a couple years old whenever we got it. So I'm counting the years that it had already grown.
Oh, okay.
Before
okay.
we planted it to its total age. So it is right around 9 years.
So if I planted one
But we-
today, I might have some pecans when I'm
But
70.
it hasn't been here that long. Oh, there's one of the babies. And come fall, whenever these go dormant, we'll go ahead and dig them out. I've got a special shovel to get them out and keep the entire taproot. And I'll show you where we move them to after that. But the baby trees grow right here. And we transfer them afterwards. Here's another canna hiding here under the canopy. This one's a hybrid. I don't know what you would call this particular hybrid. It doesn't produce good seed, but it does produce pretty flowers. These are also edible. Grasshopper is trying to eat this one.
Autoflowers are edible.
They don't have much taste. They're pretty much just like salad. It's a little bit of water, tiny little bit of crunch.
Add some
And
color.
that's about it. You put your salad dressing on it, and it tastes fine. I don't know if we want to keep on walking this way.
Let's go the other way. Check out the garden. Big garden. Ducks.
Let's go around. Let's go around on this side.
Go around that way?
Yeah. We could go either way. Go around this side. Because we're going to talk about these guys a little bit. Once again, I got to do some reading over here. This area is really exposed to the heat most of the day.
You need to speak up. I can't even hear you hardly.
Oh, sorry. This area is exposed to heat most of the day, so I can't get out here and weed it except whenever we have overcast conditions.
Ah,
But we have more of these Canna indica, Furia, these guys. And a little garden spider there.
nice garden spotter there.
I'm trying not to disturb. Oh, try not to disturb them too much. All right. So these particular plants.
Grasshopper.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have tons of grasshoppers.
That's some Charles Schwab food. Or Klaus Schwab food. Klaus Schwab.
That's duck food, is what that is.
Duck food.
Duck
there you go.
food, and what we've been experimenting with lets me know that I will be able to let the ducks come out here in the future whenever I've expanded the fence.
Ah.
They're not going to eat the cannas. They're not going to eat the peanuts that are growing under the cannas.
Peanuts.
Those are peanuts.
Yep. I
And
see that.
these guys over here, I planted them earlier. They're already making nuts. So we'll have nuts to press for oil, and we have starchy tuberous roots from the cannas, about 20 pounds a piece from these guys. In about
They make
4
20
square
pounds
feet.
a piece.
About 20 pounds of roots, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And as you notice, they could be in the canopy under the shade and still grow big.
I see that.
All
I see
they
that.
care about is they have enough heat days and they have plenty of water. And
So it's
they grow
good
big.
forestry food.
Yeah, very, very good. And
Truly.
and in some places you can leave these growing in the ground, walk away, and they'll just keep on spreading themselves year after year after year.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
only
yeah.
have to dig them out whenever you get
Well, I
hungry.
find where there's cannas growing in my area where there was homes decades ago, and ain't nothing there now, just cannas. Here's your fodder, your corn operation.
That's the stuff that I was processing back there in the grape arbor. I just cleaned it up before you arrived. See what a messy housekeeper I am. But this will go back into the corn patch.
All right.
Fertilize it up to see that.
Let me know. Put this up here over the bar. Oh, shoot.
Oh, don't worry about it. Nobody's getting out. All right, and of course, yes, we have ducks.
Hear that? Yeah. Yeah.
So ducks are amazing. First off, they're always laughing.
They're always laughing. Yeah, all right, I believe that. Hadn't thought about that.
They're always
You got a point.
All right, careful with this wire here.
You got a point. Ducks are always laughing. Hadn't thought about that.
All right.
Now, who's this guy with the beard, hat on?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jason with Green Country Agroforestry. All right, so this is our fertilizer factory back over here.
Fertilizer factory.
Yeah, I don't have the hose over here, so we're not going to do the entire procedure right now. We'll do it later.
Well, we can do a video on that in the future. Yeah, I've seen your videos about gunpowder.
You can see how we have some water is green and there's not much of it, and then some water is just muddy. Well, just muddy means it's fairly fresh. These ducks are going to get into their fresh water really quickly, and one of the first things that they do whenever they get into it is start making manure. So after one day, actually after about 2 hours of your first day, the water looks about like this.
So they prefer to poop in the water?
Yeah.
I don't see anywhere else. That's cool.
It's weird. Oh, they do poop everywhere else too, but they will always poop in the water when they get in the water. Now, after about 3 days, the water starts looking like this. And the reason I didn't dump it out previously is because 3 days after they put in the water, 3 to 4 days, depending upon what your temperature is, 3 or 4 days after, all of the bacteria that are in that water that have been converting the urea into nitrite and then to nitrate have completed the task enough that algae can now grow in the water.
That'd be nitrosomonas and nitrobacters.
Yep. And that means we have photosynthetic bacteria and nitrate in that
Fertilizer.
water. So we have effective microorganisms.
Well, you're doing with ducks what I do with fish, basically, with
Yeah.
aquaponics.
Yeah.
It's duckaponics.
And you're standing right in the future pond.
I'm standing in the future pond.
This area right here, step back over, you can imagine this area here from about where I'm standing to probably right around here or so for width, and then for length from about where this pile of weeds is right here, this being turned into soil with the help of ducks, of course. They eat all of the little critters that
Well, I bet they do.
So from there out to right about here will all be a duck pond.
It's like your neighbors in the garden. Got some of your philosophy. You infected them with your ideas. I see the cannas over there.
Oh no, those are ours too.
Oh, that's yours too. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's on the other side. Okay.
Yeah, this is two 1/3 acre two 1/6 acre lots for a total of 1/3 acre. Of course, it does have 2 houses on it and a garage that we'll probably be getting rid of eventually.
Oh, got it.
All right.
So
Oh my goodness, it is muggy out here.
Yes.
All right. Let's have a look at what happens whenever we start choosing our weeds.
That's what we want to see.
This is a pretty good example of choosing your weeds. I planted this corn on the 15th of July.
Yeah, that's when corn's about ready to harvest my neck of the woods.
Nice dragonfly. All right, so this is just a wild and woolly mess in here, isn't it? We've got all different kinds of plants growing. We've got, of course, the corn. That's a sunflower.
Sunflower.
And the purpose of the sunflower in here is to provide a trap crop for us. It attracts leaf foot bugs like nobody's business. I'd rather have them on this than on my squash. But whenever the leaf foot bugs arrive, their predator shows up too if you're not spraying any insecticide. And the predator for a leaf foot bug is a wheel bug.
There you go.
So we have wheel bugs. There's going to be a bunch of them in here already. These guys are making more grasshoppers.
Making grasshoppers.
We're going to make them into duck food.
Duck food,
Oh,
there you go.
that. They're gone.
That duck's been made sure over.
It's gone now.
Bye-bye grasshoppers.
Bye-bye grasshoppers. So here in
Happy
probably
ducks.
another week or so, we'll go ahead and take the panels out there and move them around to encompass the corn patch. The ducks will come in, they'll start patrolling the corn. They don't eat the corn, they eat the grasshoppers. And they'll eat whatever weeds they want to eat. Down here at our feet, there's some examples of things that they might eat.
Yeah, I found it.
All right. So this is another sweet potato growing back here. And the ducks will not eat the sweet potato, oddly enough. I don't know why I'm carrying my coffee cup around. All right.
I found some duck food here. Whoop, you got away when you hit the pump.
Oh,
I got him. Happy ducks. Whoop, missed him. He's looking, but I missed him.
oh, they'll hunt them down. They'll even come up and start bumping into corn stalks to knock the grasshoppers off, and then whenever the grasshoppers take off flying, the ducks can go grab them and hunt them down. Oh, you heard me, huh? Okay, here we go.
Oh, that's the procedure. Oh, yeah, man. That grasshopper didn't last no time. That's instant.
So we don't have to spray pesticide.
I don't use any pesticides.
All right. So as a substitute for the lamb's quarter, that would be.
Whack, whack, whack. There they come. Whack, whack. Ah, they missed it. That's just caught them before I did it.
So as a substitute for the lamb's quarter, that would be all through here. We planted buckwheat.
Buckwheat.
So there's our buckwheat growing up and doing the same job that the lamb's quarter did. But the
buckwheat, sunflowers, corn, and sweet potatoes growing in here, and you got some greens down here.
Yeah, and the greens down here are daikon radish and sugar beet.
Nice.
So,
daikon radish, sugar beets, buckwheat, sunflowers, and corn all growing together.
Right, so the daikon radish down here is doing the same thing that the pigweed was doing, trying to break up soil compaction. So it's going to put down a root almost as long as my arm down into the ground. Whenever that root rots away, because I'm not going to harvest this, I'm going to let it sit there and rot away. Sounds horrible. We're going to let this plant
greens
rot away.
Greens are good. I sell those for my
greens. And the greens are definitely good. We put those in salad. You can saute those with a little bit of butter and onions, and they're delicious.
Oh yeah. Make great greens.
You can also, if you choose to, thin out your daikons periodically, pull a few of them, and they are daikon radishes. You can't eat them. It's also food. But the other thing they're going to do is that root will rot down, and it's going to provide food for all the microbial life in the soil, and of course macro decomposers like the earthworms too. Now,
all right, you got some 3-leaf in there. Is that a bean or
this one is a vining cowpea. It's a black-eyed pea, actually.
Oh, okay.
So we have a couple of black-eyed peas here that are going to grow up, and here in another week or so, hopefully they'll be
grow up the corn. All right,
grow up the corn.
Because you got the peas and the corn, and you got the sweet potatoes, and a couple other things.
Sweet potatoes is ground cover. We got daikon radishes to ground cover also.
The effect of the 3 sisters.
Yep. Well, there's actually more than 3 sisters, traditionally speaking.
Yeah, yeah.
It's let's see if I can remember what all there is. There's corn, of course, beans, pumpkins. That people from pumpkins are squash are familiar with those three. There's also, of course, sunflowers right here.
Right.
That big plant over there is not a weed. That's a Jerusalem artichoke, which is actually another type of sunflower, but it's also one of the 7 sisters of traditional.
Yeah, I had some sunchokes, but I think they died out in this last cold snap I had.
So sunflowers, sunchokes, corn, beans, squash, gourds, which you saw growing on the front of the house.
Right.
Then there would be tobacco, which I don't have any of.
You got to kind of worry about tobacco. You don't want to get it around your tomatoes, because that tobacco virus will wipe them out. Be careful. I have to worry about that with my worms. You know, I can't handle tobacco products and handle my worm castings.
I tried growing tobacco for a while and had a little bit of success with it, but at the end of the day, I realized I wasn't going to use it. I don't want to use it for pesticide, and I don't want to smoke it anymore.
All right, what kind of squash pumpkin you got here?
This is a Seminole pumpkin.
Seminole pumpkin, big vine.
Seminole pumpkin, great big vine, lots and lots of flowers, lots and lots of pollen.
The bees love it. The bees love it. Nice. Feeding the pollinators. So always, if you're in a pumpkin patch, don't step on the vine. Somebody stepped on the vine down there.
Oh yeah, it's hard to walk around without doing it.
So step over.
But of course, these are also an edible flower here.
The flower is edible.
The squash flowers are also an edible.
If you eat the flower, you don't get the pumpkin.
But that's a male flower.
Oh, male flower, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
okay. So have a look at the shape of this particular flower.
All right, tell us how to tell.
Okay. Look at the shape of the flower, and you don't see a little bulb right there.
Okay,
no,
okay.
No,
the bulb
no,
is
no
for
nub.
fruit swing.
Right, and
got it.
Even the flower, the female is going to have that little nub.
Right. You see that in squash too.
Yep. So if you have a whole bunch of male flowers, you still have food. You've got flowers that you can eat, and they're actually pretty darn good.
If I try a piece.
Go for it.
Ah. Pretty good. Tastes kind of like pumpkin.
Just a bit, yeah.
A little bit.
All right, so here's an example of that kind of idea of using different layers together. This is an Anjou pear tree. This vine is an Ipomea morning glory, which ordinarily I would get rid of because it's a climbing vine that grabs a hold of stuff, makes a whole bunch of seeds, and likes to strangle things out. But it does something else which is useful for us. Because it's a climber, I used it to support this tomato plant. So the tomato plant is using the Anjou pear tree as a trellis, and it's using that
Morning glory is holding in place
instead of twine to hold it up.
I had a twine. Interesting.
Oh, let's not smack you in the face with
good.
the pear branch. This will get a little bit taller. I don't want to trim it off because I kind of want to have.
All right, what's this project going to be?
All right,
Beth?
so this is work in progress.
Let's see.
Because we have gophers and lots of gophers, and I haven't quite
gotten
rid of them yet. We took hardware cloth, put it down on the ground, and stapled it in place, and have put cement blocks all the way around.
Yeah, it's like trying to build a worm bed to keep moles out.
About 16 inches. Well, this one is actually a bed for Egyptian walking onions and garlic. We have these top sets for Egyptian walking onions.
Nice.
And some people sell these, and you can. I mean, you can take these and plant them. Most of them probably will actually sprout and grow. I prefer to sell the whole plant because then you've got a plant that's already started, and you don't have to wonder how long this has been sitting in somebody's basement before they sold it to you.
Right.
I'll sell you a living.
Somebody commented that the pumpkin leaves are good and sauteed.
Oh,
Stir fry. Praise
huh?
Family Gardens.
Uh-huh.
So good stir fry.
We got plenty of them.
You got plenty, that's for sure.
Sweet potato leaves are good too. That's another edible green.
They're so good that the deer on my place just cleaned mine out.
All right.
One year. I used to grow some nice sweet potatoes.
This little sage plant got started as an air layer. Not an air layer. Why am I saying air layer? It was layered. Sarah video that mulch it real quick. That's a sage plant that we cloned. Over here in this incredibly messy bed, that's pretty much done for the year. These are dahlias. And dahlias produce edible flowers, which have, surprisingly, different flavors.
Different flavors?
Different flavors. Each type of dahlia has a little bit different taste to it. But the reason we're growing the dahlias, of course, is not for the flowers. I don't know if I can give you that or not. Make sure I'm not picking up anything there. That's mint root down there too. We have an incursion of different plants here. Let's get down here and show you what's underneath. Oh yeah.
Got you some locust trees.
So another reason you grow dahlias. Oh no, that wasn't mint root. That was fresh growth. Are these tubers? That's the original one right there.
Starchy tuber.
Yep, these are starchy tubers. Good for. I haven't eaten them yet.
So you can eat them for the flowers and the tubers.
You can eat them for the flowers. You can eat them for the tubers as well. And see the little ribbon on this one indicates to me that this is one of the ones that makes sort of a bright pink pinwheel type flower. A little sweet. I know they're both reddish. This one is pink. This one is actually even more pink, but it's a smaller flower. So these are different types of dahlia in here. So I had to put.
You put the ribbon on.
I put the ribbon on so I know which one's which, right?
Okay.
Otherwise I'm just guessing. This guy.
Well, you'll know when it comes up and starts bearing.
Right. I figured eventually one of these days I might want to sell dahlias, and it would be useful to know which ones I had, so whenever I put them in the catalog.
So what are you selling now? You sell corn, you got a catalog, huh?
Yep. Right now we have seed corn for sale and bottle gourd seed for sale. Those are the only seeds we're selling at the moment.
Okay.
All of the trees that we sell come up for sale about mid-November.
Mid-November.
Whenever everything goes dormant. I don't want to dig them out and send them anywhere until they're ready to travel. Whew. Peace tree.
I saw a pear tree up front where I parked. It was just loaded.
We currently have 2 pear trees, which is more pears than I will ever eat.
Yeah.
Here's another little understory tree that you may have seen a few of before. That one is an Allegheny chinkapin.
Allegheny chinkapin.
So it's a chestnut tree that'll only get to be about 10 foot tall.
Huh.
So it'll always be shrub height.
Huh.
And that's black locust. Locust grows everywhere.
Locust, yeah, I said that earlier. Lamb's quarter.
These cannas are an entirely different variety. These are more of an ornamental, big showy flowers, and I don't know how the roots are. I don't know if it makes big roots or normal size roots.
Would all canna roots be edible?
All canna roots are edible. Some of them are better to grow for eating than others. This particular canna is.
Boy, there's a bee in almost every flower.
Almost every flower. This is Canna Australia over here. This area that the pumpkin vines have invaded. Canna Australia has really dark red leaves, unlike the Indica Purpurea that has red on the top and pretty much green on the bottom. This one, depending, will have more red on the top and the bottom. That makes larger flowers that are sweet tasting flowers. This one doesn't have any. There might be one that's still in bloom up front. They get eaten pretty quick. They're good.
Craze Family Garden says that's the kind of chestnut tree I need.
Oh yeah.
What's that called again?
Allegheny chinkapin.
Allegheny chinkapin.
And this is an actual regular full-size plum tree, or it will be if it ever manages to get up high enough that the pumpkins aren't swallowing it. That one back in the back there standing up is cocoa jujube. So it's a jujube tree that has a sort of a coconut flavor to the fruit.
Really?
Several different fruit trees. You know, we have pears, we have cherries, we have two different types of plum. There's, of course, the regular standard plum and then
fig.
The dessert plum as well.
A lot of figs.
You recognize this one, don't you?
See the fig. Oh, what you got outside?
It's not fig.
What is it?
That's Morris rubra, a red mulberry.
I was about to say. That
And this one
kind of remind
produces-
me of a mulberry bush. We used
This
to
one
have, but it looks
produces
different.
tons and tons of fruit.
Okay, okay.
This is a
Yeah, I
super
love mulberry.
producer.
You go this way or?
Yeah, you can go through that way and see the wonderfully cluttered carport area.
We got corn hanging up.
That's old corn.
He's got a front porch full of that.
This is actually the corn that I didn't think was fit to sell for seed, and I haven't got around to eating yet.
Ah, show press. That's good to have. All right.
All right. And let's see, this guy. Oh,
What we got?
did the spider run up back into the eaves again?
Looks like a post oak.
This one is a Quercus macrocarpa. Macro meaning large, carpa palm, so like large palmate leaves.
Okay.
That's how it got its name, and it is one of the most delicious and easy to use as food. It's one of the most delicious oaks out there. There's only probably one out there
So
that
you can
might
eat
be
that.
better
Wow.
as a food source, and that's there's a few of a strain of white oak that grow just to the west of the Great Lakes, small region,
I got white oak
that
on
are-
my
that are-
place, but nobody
that
ever
are, that are
eats them.
probably the best in the world for food.
Okay. What's the best way out of here? This one?
Yep.
Just pin up. Post. You got some more locusts?
Yeah, those escaped. I was growing them here on the concrete pad. They sent the
Got your
roots
processing area
out
here.
and invaded right here, but that's okay.
There's
Because-
another pecan tree. It's loaded up really nice. Yeah, you got a food forest here.
I don't know if this guy's gonna do well. Or
I see
not.
duckweed.
We have lots of duckweed. I don't know if this guy's gonna do well or not. But that's
So what's the bells do? They keep anything out of here?
not really.
I didn't think so.
Not really. It's just a little notification that you bumped into something.
Oh yeah.
But that's a fence. If you can't tell.
That's a fence?
That's a fence. Yeah. This is a fence.
Okay. I'll copy that. And so is the pecan tree.
It is a legal fence. It is just a string that goes around the perimeter, but it is a legal fence.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if we can see them or not. But down here in the pool, it's not just duckweed in here. There's a little goldfish swimming around.
Tadpoles, goldfish?
Goldfish. You have to have goldfish in these pools, otherwise the mosquitoes will grow in here.
Yeah.
So you put a fish in here, and the mosquitoes don't grow. But
Yeah, eat them.
I don't, there he is. Little gold shadow right down there. Last scene first. Something's right there. Right under the surface. Alright, he's getting away from us. Okay. We also have this growing.
Oh, moss.
Yeah.
What kind of moss is that, you know?
That's just regular old peat moss.
Peat moss.
Peat
Growing in
moss.
water?
Yep.
Huh.
We have quite a bit of it. Every one of these pools has got a goldfish in it.
Good. Just one?
Including this one.
I got a bunch of goldfish.
They need a little bit more water. They're very forgiving. So there's obviously more food here than the goldfish can eat.
Oh yeah.
There's a fish in this one too. These are all daylilies. Hemera fulva, daylily. The tubers. I'll go ahead and pull one out. So the tubers down here at the base of it. Where we got them. Those are edible too. You can eat those, but mainly I grow these for the flowers. The flowers taste better than any lettuce you've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, and it produces an abundance of flowers. So we have different varieties of daylilies. So we have the flowers coming on at different times. So we always have fresh edible flowers coming.
Huh.
Okay. Let's see what we got under this tub here. Okay. So maybe you've got ambitions of having a worm bin, but you haven't got around to making the worm bin yet. You can always just take a tub.
Oh yeah.
And create
compost.
I love this. You can do this. You can do this under your trees too. Just take all your weeds, stack them up in one pile. Weeds. Stack them up in a pile. Get them moist. Cover them with something. Crickets. There's some roaches there. Getting down into it.
Soil.
Well,
Compost.
This was all weeds. This was
Oh
all
yeah.
Weeds and yard litter. Not too long.
It's been through the heat phase. It's ready for the worms.
Well, you did your job right.
Yeah, actually you can put a little bit on top of a bed anyway, whether it has or not.
If you did your job right, you might see some worms in here. I don't see any worms in this one.
Now what'd you do with the worms I sold you?
I put them in a worm bin and grew them, and then fed them mycorrhizal inoculated corn. I took corn and ground it up. Well, it was already corn chops. Boiled it in water until it was good and mushy. Stirred in a little mycorrhizal inoculant, grew it out for a couple of weeks, poured off the excess, used the mycorrhizal inoculant to inoculate the garden, and then fed the rest of the corn mash to the worms. And so now whenever those worms get released, they're carrying mycorrhizal all over.
Yeah, good. And here's the pear tree that I saw when I came in. See some nice pears there. Sorry about my finger, guys. Those pears. Beautiful. First thing I noticed when I pulled in here. And this is Scarlet. I believe that's what I'm gonna call her. This is my home away from home. So I've started an experiment in van living. And this is what has kept me so busy while y'all hadn't seen much of me lately. And yeah, we got this thing set up I stayed in it last night, first night ever, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we're going somewhere. Y'all guess where we're going? Got me a generator here that's gas and propane. I got a propane tank in there for it. I'll use it when I get where I'm going. I have power. It's a backup. I have a solar arrays on top. And it's messy in here, but this is where I'm. It's actually pretty comfortable last night. Even though it was 86 degrees, I had a fan going. That saved me. So I'll have to do some videos on this. I may even start van living. I ain't got used to that door. It's opposite of every other door. You turn it right, to unlock it. I always want to turn it left. So I got a bunch of stuff up in here. Bed. Got a solar. So let's see here. Where's the camera at? There it is. This is solar stuff. Battery down there. Got that thing there. There's this thing. Water. All kind of stuff in here. Bed set up. Oh, got that turned off. Alright, so here you go, guys. That's a home away from home. Shut the door good. Probably one more time. Make sure I got my laptop still charging. Be needing it pretty soon. Still got to work. Like your snake down there.
Oh yeah, you can't have a garden without snakes.
Does that scare? Does that keep anything out of your garden?
No.
That's a big snake.
Not,
But by many local critters see that go, nah, not here.
Sometimes the person will see it and they go, ah, and then realize that it's not real.
It's too big for a rattlesnake.
More cannas across here, and really, if you have just a tiny little strip and that's all you've got, You can't go wrong by planting a whole bunch of cannas in it, because every single one of those plants, you have 4 square feet around it. That's about 20 pounds worth of food in the ground.
20
there.
pounds for 4 square
20
feet.
pounds.
And it grows in the shade.
And it grows in the shade, and it grows in conditions whenever potatoes won't grow.
Wow.
So, for example, here we go from our last frost into 85 plus degree weather, usually within 55 to 60 days. So springtime potatoes is not really a thing. Sometimes we're able to get away with growing them in the fall, but if I want a consistent starchy root crop that I can grow and know I'm going to get something, cannas do it for me, and sweet potatoes do it.
Wow, nice. When do you plant your sweet potatoes here?
You can get away with planting them just about any time there's not frost on the ground.
Yeah.
So those were planted early, and I've got 1 or 2 that were planted later. Those were planted fairly early on.
Jason, thanks for the tour.
Oh, you're welcome.
I have to hit the road in a minute. I got a long drive. Got a long drive ahead of me.
Oh yeah, 13 hours.
Yeah, 13-hour drive. If all goes well. My drive here was supposed to be 9 hours, and what did it take me? About 12?
A little bit longer, but you know, I had the
I had
mechanical problem on the way.
Yeah, I had to make a couple of stops, check things out.
There's some more dahlias there.
Oh yes, all right.
These ones are better for loose sandy soil than clay. If you have clay, get something other than dahlias. They don't like having their feet wet. So clay will trap moisture around them, and it'll make them suffer. There you go. Have some clay. That's an Oshberg amaranth.
It's what?
Amaranth. Oshberg amaranth.
Oshberg amaranth.
It's a non-colored amaranth, but all of these little seed heads will have thousands of tiny little microgreen seeds in them.
Beautiful.
That they reseed themselves. So so you just get yourself a patch of these, gather your seeds, take them indoors for the winter to grow your microgreens out of during the course of the winter. And just
have greens all winter long.
Just by harvesting those seeds, you'll drop enough on the ground that they'll reseed themselves.
Nice.
And you'll notice the leaves have been eaten on by something. There's the something. That's a little flea beetle. So it turns out that flea beetles like amaranth better than they like some of the other things that they might be eating. So if you have an issue with flea beetle, plant some amaranth so that the beetles will have something to be attracted to. And then the predator that'll eat that flea beetle will come along and eat it. And you won't have problems with flea beetles.
All right, cool. All right.
So either the plants are fixing what's wrong with your soil and making your soil better, or they're providing you with a way to deal with pests.
There you go.
Without having to go get the pesticide.
There you go. It looks like you got it covered there, Jason. You got quite a thing growing on here.
Work in progress.
Work in progress. Somebody's walked up. Somebody busy.
Good morning.
Hi, Jason. There's a fresh pot of coffee if you guys want any.
I made a pot of coffee already.
And I had to make more.
Why? Did you drink it all? Oh, you drank it all.
Along with the CS gas.
Hey, would some of your plants like a little coffee? Some of your plants like a little coffee. I got some left over in my corral.
Oh, no, sure. Pour them anywhere.
All right.
Morning, Boo-Boo.
We're doing a live video. You want to say hi?
No.
No? Okay.
All right.
Jason, I appreciate it, man.
Oh, you betcha. Oh. This pitiful plant here is about done for the year. But that one's asparagus.
Asparagus.
So
nice.
you have asparagus just scattered out in different places throughout your yard. Whenever you want some asparagus, take it.
Very good.
Milkweed and this is important. This is the other gopher retardant. Mint.
Mint is a gopher retardant. Yeah, rats don't like it. Oh, that's very good. Smell that. All mints are edible, but they're tend to be fragrant. All mints have a square stem, and they've got a stem square, and the leaves go like this, and then like that, and then like this, all the way up.
More fig trees.
Yeah, more fig trees.
You have to have a fig tree to go with the snake.
Go with what?
To go with the snake, you have to have a picture.
Oh, to go with snake. I got it. So I'm not wearing fig bushes, fig leaves. Next time I come, you'll be wearing fig leaves.
Oh, I hope not. They don't cover much.
Yeah, that's a problem. You have to sew them together somehow. I hope they don't rip and tear.
These might cover something.
Yeah, those might. Those are huge. Those are huge. Anyway, well, I guess you need an apple tree to go with the snake too, right?
Huh?
You need an apple tree to go with the snake too.
Yeah, apples don't go really well on bottomland though.
Do they? Not okay.
You can get away with pears and plums, but apples not so much. Although neighbor across the way.
I like pears better myself. All right.
So,
All right, Jason. Thank you for the video.
you're welcome. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. All right. Folks, thank y'all for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed this. And with that, I'm going to say, Greg out. There it is.